Okay, good evening and very, very warm welcome. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in from Facebook. Great to have you here. My name's Morel and I'm going to be your host this evening, along with my very good friend, Sean Showman. So if you're on Facebook, if you've got any questions at all, please just pop them into the comments. If you're watching on the replay later, same thing, pop any questions in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. If you're on the Zoom panel tonight and you've got any questions, you can use the chat facility. So please put anything in there. But we will be opening up the Zoom panel once we finish the presentation. So you'll be able to come on and unmute and ask your questions directly. So let me just explain what we're going to be doing on tonight's Wednesday Zoom Hangout. What we're going to be looking at is an alternative way to get your money working for you. So traditionally, we would put our money into the bank, but as we all know, this is not really helping us now. We're not earning any interest. Our money isn't growing. So I know that many of us have financial worries. We worry about our retirement because we do not have a big enough pension pot, maybe no pension. So it's quite a concern as you get older, your income will stop. How are you going to enjoy that retirement if you don't have enough money coming in? Maybe you're a parent like myself and you're concerned, I know I am, about how am I going to help my children to get a property? How am I going to help them to get that big deposit that they need? Maybe it's that you're really feeling the pinch now, you know, living costs are increasing. And I know many people now who are struggling to pay for that family holiday, which, you know, let's face it, that's quality time that we want to spend with our families. So we're going to show you within the next 10 minutes. So it's going to be, I'm going to keep it short and sweet for you, so don't go anywhere. I'm going to explain to you a different way that you can get your money working for you, a low risk, long-term way that you can actually save for your future, okay? So without further ado, what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the video. It's just 3 minutes long. And when I come back, I'll explain it in a little bit more detail. So let's get started. Let me ask you a question. How much is your bank paying you? Exactly. It's hardly paying out anything. In fact, your bank is actually costing you money. But thankfully, there is a much better way. Let me show you an opportunity usually reserved for wealthy individuals or financial institutions. Passive income from natural resources that are in demand and used all over the planet. An income that's been paying for decades and has enough supply to continue for decades to come. How would you like to own part of an oil well? Assets to produce oil and natural gas, real physical assets with a real market value. An asset that produces oil and gas over and over again, 24/7. Would you like to own a piece of a real mine, one that produces minerals from the earth? Or maybe an energy farm that produces renewable energy? We have a solution that starts with oil and gas. A solution where you can be a part owner of these income producing assets. You can own a share of these oil pumps and receive a passive income. The first two assets we acquired were in Louisiana and Mississippi. We then went on to purchase a much larger asset in Texas. The Texas asset has been pumping oil and gas since the 1930s and has enough supply for another 20 years. Real sustainable, long-term income and capital growth that is truly generational. The gross annual yield is about 20 to 30% per year, and the the site currently pays royalties to over 800 families per month. With site development, we can increase the annual return on these assets to 30 to 40% per year and also extend the supply up to 30 years. We also have a number of other assets in the pipeline, expanding our portfolio further. The company have chosen to lead with the oil and gas assets mentioned earlier, as they have a proven track record going back over many decades. These assets are income producing today and will drive cash flow and revenue through the business. The acquisition of those oil and gas assets has added to the company's balance sheet. Our share price is increasing, reflecting our asset acquisition program. The profits will be paid quarterly and will be distributed to stakeholders in line with their equity. The funds raised via our stakeholders allow us to purchase more assets and diversify our portfolio. If you like the idea of becoming a stakeholder, then please get in touch with the person who shared this video with you. Okay, so I've just stopped that video. So I hope you enjoyed the video. So what I'm going to do now is just expand just a little bit further. And obviously what we'll do at the end is we'll have a time for questions and answers as well. Okay, so the store equity token, it's a digital token or a digital share, as I like to explain it, and it's backed by real tangible assets. Now, STORE stands for Sustainable Technology Resource Holdings. So let's start with the figures and why you should consider getting involved with STORE. You can become a shareholder in the company from as little as €99. So this is really affordable for everyone. And as explained in the video, you will receive a regular quarterly income for several decades to come. As you saw in the video, STORE currently owns 3 assets. So we have purchased 3 oil fields in the United States. These are our foundational legacy assets that have been producing an income since the 1930s, and they will continue paying our shareholders for the next 2 to 3 decades. These oil fields are currently producing an annual return of around 25%, which is fantastic. But with our technologies and further development applied, we will be increasing this annual return to more than 30%. So I think you will agree that this is a much better return than what your bank is offering you today. Now, we started by acquiring these oil fields as they produce an income right now. They have a proven track record, but this is just the beginning. Our future assets are going to tackle some of the global environmental issues, such as the recycling of non-recyclable plastics back into oil, land and water reclamation, and we will also be active in renewable energy. Now, STORE is committed to helping the environment by repairing some of the damage that has built up over many decades by large companies and corporations who ruthlessly made their profits without any consideration for the environment or the local community. We are now raising funds, which we're really, really excited about. We're raising funds through the sale of our STORE tokens so that we can purchase our next asset. This will be our 4th asset. And this is where we're going to convert that non-recyclable plastic back into oil. Now, this is a process known as pyrolysis. And when this is done properly, this is very, very lucrative. So this will bring greater returns for us, for the shareholders. Many of those shareholders are on this Zoom panel tonight. Now, we've all seen the shocking images, especially recently, in our rivers, our oceans. They're full of household plastics. You may have seen the recent documentary on the BBC. You can't quite believe what you're seeing, but you know, we all know that this is a very, very real problem and it needs addressing, and it needs addressing now. So you can actually help tackle this problem with us from as little as €99. Now, the Store team of industry-led experts have over 150 years of experience between them to start to tackle this global problem. Now, we're not going to have any problems sourcing the plastic because, unfortunately, there is so much plastic littering the globe. This is a project that will still be needed and will continue to be in operation when my children are all grown up, having children of their own. The quarterly payments that you will receive from this asset will be passed on to your children and very likely your grandchildren too. What Store offers is a portfolio of income producing assets for the long term. Now, typically, as I mentioned before, we've been taught to save our money in the banking system. But sadly, this system is now broken. It has failed us, and we have to find another way to grow our money so that we can all have financial security for the future. I believe that Store is the answer. Store is the vehicle where you can get decent returns on your hard-earned cash, providing you with a long-term, stable, safe, low-risk income. So how do you become a stakeholder? Quite simply, all you need to do is get in touch with anybody on this Zoom panel tonight, or maybe you're viewing this on somebody's Facebook wall. Whoever shared this with you, get in touch with them. We will give you some more information. You can then obviously make an informed decision. And if you'd like to get started, we'll help you to set up your free account, and then we'll guide you through buying your first Store package, and then you will be a shareholder as well. And as I mentioned before, you can do this all from €99. So it really is affordable for the everyday person like me and you. So I hope that's given you an overview of what we have here. If you've got any questions at all, if maybe I didn't explain something fully, please, if you're on Facebook Live or on the replay, pop your questions into the comments, and I'm watching the Facebook now, so I can comment as I'm on here. But maybe we've got some questions from the Zoom panel. Let's go over to Sean and see if there's any questions.
Hello, Morel. So before we start with the questions, you mentioned something very important tonight, and that's about money. Because everybody on this planet wants this. They want the paper money, because this is US dollars, it's not British pounds. I don't really necessarily have pounds. All my pounds are plastic these days. I just walk around the top because it's so much easier. But we all put our faith in government institutions, governments, people we vote for, to make decisions for us on our monetary system. In the UK, the Bank of England's sort of run by the UK government. It's not a private bank, it's a government institution. In America, where this paper money come from, is run by the Federal Bank. We can bring it up here. The Federal Bank is a private bank. It's got shareholders. Large financial institutions like JP Morgan, I believe Barclays at some point, which I actually bank with, used to have shares in the Federal Reserve in the US. South Africa, for instance, they have the Reserve Bank of South Africa. And people think that in South Africa, the Reserve Bank of South Africa, the government have influence over money. But that bank is owned also by shareholders. It's got 695 shareholders, external parties, rich people, the wealthy, making decisions on your monetary system in different countries. In the UK, House of Lords, the old money, is making decisions on your money at the Bank of England. They devalue our money. Back in 2008, Brown sold a lot of our gold, so the British pound doesn't have anything to fall back on. That era in 2008 is known in the history as Brown's bottom. So if there's a financial crash, the banks have been very clever. In 2008, we had a bank bailout law. So basically they went to the taxpayer in 2008 when Lehman Brothers and a lot of the financial institutions like Royal Bank of Scotland got stuck. They went to the taxpayer and held a hand out. The taxpayer had to give them money. Nowadays, you can go and Google it. It's actually on the HMRC website as well. There's a thing called bank bail-in law. Now, that gives the bank right, if there's a financial crisis, to take your money. Now they said there's insurance on that money. You're insured up to 85,000. And people think, oh, I'm going to put 85,000 in this bank and 85,000 in this bank. I'm sort of covered. No. A lot of these banks, like Lloyd's and RBS, they're all linked into each other. They must be shared the same banking license. Depends how many banks shared one banking license. You're only covered for 185,000. Doesn't matter which bank gets in. So the next bank bailout is around the corner. And every 10 years, these stuff devalue. Because how do they devalue? They print more money. Because inflation goes up, debt goes up, our debt goes up, government debt goes up. So these things are devaluing. A lot of people chase this. They're chasing a devaluing dream, something that has no real value. If you go and look through the history of the human race, where did the wealthy always invest, put their money in? They always put their money in gold. Caesar chased gold. The Romans was fighting over gold mines and places like that. Colonization in the 1800s was all about getting them access hands on minerals. The UK went out, colonized South Africa, places in Africa and Australia, because there was minerals. That's what the whole purpose was of the East Indian Company, which is a Dutch company. People think that it was a Dutch-owned company, but that was a private company governing the world on trades and minerals back then. So the rich invest not in stuff that devalues. That's why they have hedge funds. And this is why I'm bringing the point back to now. We have a fund, an energy fund within Store, which invest in physical, tangible assets where the wealthy invest in. Rothschilds, they don't invest in paper money, and they might have banks and stuff like that, but they collect your money to go and buy some assets. And then on the top of that, they pay you, if you're lucky, up maximum of 3% back, where they make a 20, 30, 40, 50, 60% return back on those assets. Here we have a very unique opportunity where any ordinary person in the street can come in for 99 euros, put their money into something, an energy fund, as Morel mentioned before. Our base or foundation of this company is around oil and gas. How many of you drive every day to the petrol station to put fuel in your car? How many of you go and buy plastic products? Hard plastic's got a blend of crude oil in it. Just go and have to Google it. I think there's 76 uses just for crude oil. A whole industry is built on it. All these fancy solar panels, it has plastic in it, and that needs a specific blend of crude oil. All these wind farms that they build and say it's a renewable energy and so clean, that have a motor in it. That needs grease and oil to run that motor. It can't run by itself. It's going to get, the friction is just going to burn it out. We invest in a foundational product which is going to be long-standing, being here for generations. Oil cannot be replaced in overnight. Regardless whatever government targets and what people talk out there, it's impossible. Because my glasses, this plastic frame, that's got a blend of crude oil in it. The outdoor paint you paint in your house, got a blend of oil in it. As Morel said, what do we do now? We are raising money. The next target is to raise $3 million. And that is to bring in a pyrolysis plant. Because there are different types of plastics out there. There's plastics that's recyclable, which is designed to be recyclable, goes into recyclable, and it gets reused to create other plastic things. But there's a lot of non-recyclable parts. Like, for instance, that dashboard in your car. It's a hard plastic. They can't just recycle it. They have a massive problem with this. You can think everybody drives these fancy Priuses, which is a hybrid cars with batteries in it. Those batteries are made of hard plastic. Once that battery comes out, what do they do with it? Where do they go with it? They cannot recycle it. The only way to do this is through a pyrolysis plant. And that pyrolysis plant takes the plastic, turn it back into oil. And the beautiful thing within Store, we have a midstream business partner through Ryan and his business partner, Randall. Now, most people don't understand what midstream is, for maybe hear the terminology for the first time. This is the distribution channel for oil and gas. So with other words, there's there's oil pumps or the pyrolysis that turn plastic into oil, but that oil needs to go into a distribution channel, which goes to a refinery to turn into different blends and crudes, and then you get it sold to the open market. And this is what the house to the Black Rock operations. So by we coming in with pyrolysis and our oil pumps, we have a direct access into the market through our business partner of BlackRock in store. So this is literally a foundational, generational thing where the wealthy invest in. The wealthy buy gold mines, they buy oil fields. They don't buy fancy cars just to drive them around and show off. Because that fancy car comes from physical assets, not from this stuff. This piece of paper, this $20 bill and $1 bill costs the same to produce. Yet they're two different values. Because the government tells you two different values. And then 2 months later, the inflation goes up and they print them and put more quantitative easing. Go Google the terminology quantitative easing. Go and see how the process works. Because every 10 years, the money devalue. And so I understand people chase money because these things pay our bills. It pays our food because this is what the system has been designed for. These days, we don't use this. We use this thing here, plastic debit card. And you tap wherever you go. Some people is fancy enough to get Apple Pay and Samsung Pay and all these malarkeys going as well. So our lives are so much easier. Our money comes into our bank before we even pay ourselves to save money, to build generation. Direct debits go out. The taxman takes his money. 100 years ago, the taxman got paid once a year. Now the taxman gets paid every month before you get your salary paid into your address. The only people who have to pay later is the self-employed or business people who pay corporation taxes, pay once a year. But ordinary folk who have a salary, hang on, your salary is paid in, your taxes deducted before you have a say over your money. So they have full control. This is how the system has been designed. Yeah, the system is great because the system works to a certain extent in certain aspects. But for the money side, going forward, I mean, really, do people really think David Beckham made 25 million to go and just to make this money and put it in a bank? Look at the businesses he builds around it. He doesn't go and leave it in the bank and get 3% or 1% interest on 25 million. He goes start businesses which generate more money, more income. He takes that money to make more. So all we do here with 99 euros, it's a very simple no-brainer. Come in, you get a small piece and a real tangible asset. And you can save in this opportunity by becoming an IBO, which is called independent business owner. Now this costs you 50 euros a month if you want to promote this business. And for that 50 euros a month, you get 50 store tokens at this point in time. So your store equity stake in the company keeps growing every month. See, there's a savings fund on top of the fact that it's a fee to promote the business. So you have two winning factors here. You have a saving fund. You don't even have to worry about thinking, I have to take 50 pounds or 50 euros out of the savings account a month. I put it in store. And it's open global. I get a business. I have to introduce somebody. I get commission. Plus, I get every month my store equity grows. And what is this thing doing? Runs on inflation. What is inflation? Inflation is the devaluing of your money. And most of the inflation figures I show you on TV is only based on the product. The products that we use. It's not even including manufacturing or anything else like that. It only includes a certain part. You can just get all that information. What I share with people is available on Google. So if there's anybody who wants a question or add something, we actually have Siswili on as well tonight. I want to bring Siswili on if he's available. Siswili, you there? You're muted. He's actually from South Africa because I'm hosting a presentation.
Hello,
coming on the 29th. Hello, Siswili. You guys are hosting a presentation around Store and Utopian Global and the opportunity we have on the 29th of June this month. Do you want to share a bit of that of your presentation, the day you guys going to have available on that day in South Africa?
Okay, yes. We are having a presentation on the 29th of this month. Yeah, so we are hoping to have more people than the previous presentation. Yeah, so it's the preparations are going very well.
And what is the times? I believe you guys have 2 sessions on the day, is it?
Yes, yeah. We have 2 sessions. The other one it starts at 10 o'clock a.m. Then the last one is at 1 o'clock.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. We're literally growing across the plan is pity. We had Elise from Kenya, and she just dropped off. I guess must be internet connection. And Kenya had a wonderful presentation over the weekend. They're growing as well very steadily over there. Great work over there. Is really. If you guys need anything, just give us a shout, and we can see how we can help you guys with the presentation for the 29th as well. This is a real good opportunity for those in South Africa. Just reach out. This is really watch this presentation. And then we've got Mike on the call, Susanna on the call, and we've got James on the call as well. So any one of you have a question you want to ask specifically around Store and Utopian Global, or you want to have a specific comment, just fire away. You just have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I got introduced by Bill, who couldn't make it today, and I think probably I've got a pretty good understanding about asset-based income, predominantly sort of like gold, silver, and less in sort of like crypto. So I've got sort of like real interest in, long-term investing. And I think what attracted me to Store was that there was something tangible on the other side. Getting past the technology, which pretty much flies over my head when people start talking about blockchain. The only chains I know, what are on a bike. But it was the fact that, what Store is involved in is something that isn't just going to go away. It isn't a fad. There's nothing new about oil and gold, and I think that's where I sort of thought, well, do you know what, I'll get involved. Luckily got involved just before the price increase, but I think it'd be interesting to see it sort of what happens over the next few years, especially in the next sort of like 18 months. And if the shares get voted on the exchange, or which exchange that is, whether it's NASDAQ or a crypto exchange. But I think, predominantly, if the owners do 50% of what it looks like they're setting out to achieve, long term, this could be something that we, even if it did 10%, that's a huge figure. If anyone's investing long term, 10% is a very, very decent figure. If you got that consistently, you could build a lifestyle where you wouldn't have to go and work 9 to 5. If you're patient, you don't have to have huge funds to be able to do that. So, and I think obviously, if this is successful, it's going to be a lot easier to promote. When you can demonstrate a tangible return on your investment, other than just say like what could be earned from an affiliate basis or promotional basis. If the company can demonstrate how they're getting on these acquisitions, and really what those acquisitions mean in terms of ROI, and how long each one of those ROIs is likely to last. Because, like, for me, if they're involved in the oil in Texas, and that's for the next 20 years, then you can go, do you know what, I can commit. You've got a portfolio, and like me, I look at sort of like gold and silver. They're not going to give me those kind of returns, so they're just more, just a portfolio protection, as opposed to something that earns you 20, 30, 40%. So it'd be interesting to see how the company sort of proposes how long, if they do believe conservatively that they can maintain 20% or 15% or 10%, or whether they actually believe that they can consistently deliver a high level, or how long that might be. It might be for 5 years at 30% and then drop back down to 20 if they sell, or if they, with all things like the recycling of the plastic, there's obviously, huge costs involved in that as well. So, there may be a dip in the portfolio for increased future investment or an increased return, but it might have to dip first before it can get there. So all those kinds of things would be really interesting to see, what happens.
What I like, you mentioned gold and silver. Even though through Utopian Global Network, we are reselling Argus Orias gold and silver, which is 999.99 pure gold, and it's LBMA certified. To the store project, what we're getting involved with at the moment is the San de Pasco project, which is a land reclamation where they mined for the last, I think, Meral can correct me, 400 years, since the 17th century, which had literally just damaged that area. Yes, there's pollution and stuff there, but we've got a project we're going to start, and starting very soon as part of the money we raise here for the 3 million as well, which is going to go towards the San de Pasco, because the altitude is so high, and the mountain is 4,300 meters above sea level. To get the equipment up there, that's quite costly and expensive to get there. But what they mined before, they were just targeting a specific mineral they were after, and I forgot what it was. And they just dug out all this mine heaps. And in this mine heaps are gold, there's silver, there's platinum, there's other minerals in there. I forgot the whole listing. It's actually in the white paper. But we can actually, when we do the land reclamation, we can get that gold. And that gold we can sell. It's part of our project that we have. So not only can you purchase LBMA certified gold Utopian Global, but within store, it's going to become part of the store profile through the land reclamation as well. And you're right when you say that the markets move. Nobody knows how the market goes, because every market works in a cycle. And the nice thing within store, what I like, but it really attracts me, was the fact that we have the foundation, the oil fields that pumps out the oil. That's normally affected by the oil price. But then we have the recycling pyrolysis, which is not really so much affected by the oil price, because it's a completely different process. And then we have the midstream business, where there is water reclamation, which is also not affected by this price. So we have different markets, so the company can load balance when one goes down and one can go up. So we have a diverse portfolio in there. And as you say, business is always in cycles. It goes up and then down and up and down. And this is how it works. And we're in the IPO stage, initial private offering stage. So this is the only time where you're going to get the store price and the store tokens at this specific price. And as James mentioned, we are planning to go on an exchange. Now, you did mention NASDAQ, and a very interesting fact around NASDAQ is last year, when was that? That was about October, November. I need to find the article. On the NASDAQ website, they had a whole blog post where they actually was rating and comparing equity tokens, security tokens, to standard venture capitalists and ICO opportunities, and how much better security and equity tokens are going forward. And they are planning to work on it. And not just them, but London Stock Exchange here in the UK is working with a company called Navarro. And Navarro is a specialist in equity token and security token-based platforms. And they're busy working with this on the London Stock Exchange. I believe they're going to launch a first beta, I think 2021, which is about 2 years away. So soon you're going to see some test faces coming into the London Stock Exchange. So is the ASIC in Australia. ASIC in Australia is also working with, I forgot the company they're working with. And so is the Swiss government, not Swiss government, the Swiss Stock Exchange, also doing the same thing. So we are at the forefront. I like to always say we're like Star Trek with the final frontier, basically. We right in the open space, the spaces that nobody has sort of explored it yet. We're right at the edge of it. So we're right there, and that's what I love about it.
And I think what James just said, I want to welcome James. I don't think I've seen James on here before. Thank you for coming on. And what you said was absolutely spot on. It's fantastic when someone joins us and takes the time to understand what we have here. And as James said, you need to look at this. This is a long-term thing. You can't create generational wealth overnight. this company has been around for 11 years. We're not a company that is built on hype. We're not chasing the fast money. We are looking to make long-term income that is steady, that is stable. But James come up with some really, really good points there, because of course, as he mentioned, these assets are not going to, it's not going to be the same every single day. There's going to be dips. And a key point as well is that there will be times where, we will want to develop that asset to give us an extra decade or so. So it's really, just, if you're interested, it's just come on board, and you're not going to necessarily tap into this and get this straight away, because it's something that's very different. This is not normally available to the everyday person. So it is going to take time to understand it and get your head around it. But that's why we do these Zoom calls. We've also got our own Facebook groups. We create our own videos. We have the corporate webinars. We have our own company websites. We have a dedicated website for store. We also have a white paper, which is an absolute must read. If you are a Utopian Global member already, please make sure that you have read the white paper. The white paper, it's for me, I love to read it. It's an amazing read, because it explains the mission of store, it explains what we've done already, and it explains where we're going, what our goals are for the future. So this is a document that is updated. This is a document that changes quite regularly. So this is a really important document for anybody thinking about getting involved, and for all of the stakeholders too. So I just wanted to add that, because I thought there was really, really some key points there that James mentioned. So, hi, we've got Steve on the call. Welcome, Steve. Do we have any other questions from any of the panel?
I was actually going to ask Dawn if he can just give us a bit of an update, because we have an event coming up in Birmingham. Is John there?
I'm not sure. He was.
Maybe he maybe
was in
dropped
his
off.
van, and then he was walking. He might have been.
Oh, there he is.
Hi, John. Are you walking your dog?
You muted, John.
Yeah. I'm just having a walk down on the beach with my sidekick at the moment. So I just thought I'd listen in tonight, because I've been quite a busy day. Rained off the day job, but great presentation, guys, as always.
Thank you.
So we've got a presentation coming up on the 6th of July. Do you want to tell the people a little bit about it?
Did you hear that, John?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
6th of July event, yeah?
Yeah.
Hang on, let me just get my other ear plug in, because he's in here somewhere. It's getting caught up in his lead. Right, so well, I've only been a member of this opportunity as a whole for a few months now, right? And it's been a real learning curve. So I've been learning, about the investments, about the token, about the pyrolysis, about the oil fields, and about everything that's been going on, and been really excited about it all, getting more and more excited about it all. And we're putting together an event, myself, Morel, Sean, some of the other chaps, Steve, Bill, for the 6th of July in Birmingham. We've actually got the CEO of Utopian Global, Bill Rowell, coming over from, I believe he's flying in from Dubai. And we've got Ryan Messer, CEO of Store, flying in from the US. And we've got Master Rep Claudia Eifert flying in, I suppose, from Germany, right? It's going to be a phenomenal event. I'm really looking forward to meeting these guys in person, see the whites of their eyes, and to get some questions answered. But I think from what I've seen at the moment of Bill and Ryan and Claudia, I'm really impressed, ethical people. And yeah, just really, really looking forward to this event. So we're going to be going up on the Saturday morning. The event kicks off 1 p.m. I think it's only sort of a few hours, isn't it? 1 till 5. So we're all working hard now, trying to get as many people through the door as possible. We've got a room of 100 seats to fill. So, you know, if you're interested to learn more, then what better way of actually getting all the information from, as we call, the horse's mouths. Yeah, so we've got Ryan, Bill and Claudia all taking a lot of time out to actually fly to the UK and to present the Utopian Global opportunity. So how did I do?
You did brilliant there. You did brilliant.
Putting me on the spot there again, but yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to meeting everyone.
So the other night we were talking about the store price increasing and stuff, and Steve actually mentioned something which is quite important, that people shouldn't look at the fact that price increase, because it's never too late to get involved in this opportunity. Regardless if we went from 50 cents to €1, because Steve, would you explain to people what is the real value of what you see, and why is it not too late for anyone to come in at any stage? Doesn't matter what the store price is.
Yeah, hi everybody, and hi James. James is, if you don't know, he's got a brilliant system called AFT, doing really well with that. So thanks for putting that together. Right, price increases and things like that. When you look at the, this business, so when you look at any business, if you look at, say, Amazon, for example, Amazon, I used Amazon because that was something I used last week. But basically, if you got into Amazon when it first launched, you could get the shares dead cheaply. Nowadays, the shares are worth, I think, about $3,000 a go. Now, it doesn't stop people coming in and buying Amazon shares. In fact, what it's done is, because the company's got so big, the dividends are so massive, it's not going to go anywhere. It's just dominating the market. And people buy into that because there's security there. And I think as the prices go up, as the store token prices go up, it just reflects on the value of the company in terms of the assets that have been bought. In other words, the company's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So it doesn't matter if you get in now when the price is €1 go, or €4 or €10 or even €100 if it gets that far. The underlying value of the company is always reflected in the price of the tokens. Now, you're still going to get a dividend coming out of that. So whatever profits the company is making, and obviously the more assets they go and buy, basically the turnover is going to be greater, the profit's going to be greater, the dividends, the share of the dividends is going to be greater as well. And if anybody decides then say, well, I've had a good ride with this, I've got plenty of dividends, I just want to sell my tokens, they'll get to sell those for a good price as well. So, I think, there's been a big thing about, all the prices going up next week, or the prices going up tomorrow, or, as we got closer and closer and closer, there's a lot of people trying to get people coming in. Now, I know a lot of people haven't done their due diligence yet. They haven't looked into the company. They don't really understand what it's all about. And I say to them, well, that's fine. Just do your due diligence. Make sure you're comfortable with what the company is doing. Doesn't matter if the price was 50 cents, and it's now €1. All it means is you get a few less tokens for your money at the moment. But in the longer term, it's still, I think, going to be a good investment, simply because the value of the company is reflected in the tokens and the earning power that is derived from that as well. So that's my belief. Anyway, that's where I look at it, and hopefully other people, believe that as well.
That is so spot on. I think a lot of people sometimes see, I've missed a boat. And I mean, this boat here is not a boat to be missed, because this is a generational thing. You can come in, you can catch the boat halfway to Spain, you can get boarded in Greece, and then you can go down to the Bahamas. The boat keeps going. You can come in at any harbor port whenever the price is, and come in, and you can have a generation. I mean, James made it clear as well, this is something that's long term. People don't necessarily use the long-term things, because if you think we all work just for this for 4 weeks just to get this, then those dollars that keep you using and stuff. just to go and blow it at the end of the month. And we blow the necessary stuff like food, bills, mortgages, and then we blow some going to the pub. So stop going to the pub for at least 2 to 3 months, because then you can save up at least 99, 200, or 300 euros just to get into store. And your liver will be happy. And you'll be smiling a couple of years later when your shares are starting paying a good dividend back and it increased so much in value, because it's a generational thing. It's here for the long term. So this people need to think of what they do. I mean, I know I work in a city, and I walk past Pret in the morning because I wake up in the morning here, have my protein shake, rush to work, and walk past Pret, and you have that lovely coffee smell. That coffee costs nearly £2 something. 5 days. That is over £10. It's like £12 just to have a coffee every morning. 2 weeks, £24. The whole month later, I've got £50 there. And that's not even talking of going to the pub once in a while, or not, well, at least once to twice a week, maybe for a pint or two. And I save that money. Hang on, now I've got enough just to get into store, get in. So there is ways people do. People always say, "Oh, I can't afford it." Normally, people, if you can't afford it, it's because you haven't made that mental shift in your mind to make a change in your life. Because at this point in time, you're still comfortable. To get out of your comfort zone, to build something for the generation. Because your pension funds is not going to be there in future. We just saw last week, I forgot what that fund managers who was managing the pension funds for the councils. All those people at that councils is 100% at risk. And a lot of people go and buy ISAs, and they think the ISAs is great. But if you go and read the ISA, the small print, you can go to Lloyd's, and they had an advert on the radio the other day, get into ISA, and the terms and conditions states that your capital that you put in your ISA is 100% at risk. So people don't think about it because they trust the brand. They trust Lloyd's and RBS like they trust Nike and ASICS trainers. You can go and read fine print, because most of us are 100% at risk all the time and we don't even know it. So the due diligence, as Steve said, that's the key. Come and do your due diligence. I mean, even if it takes 6 months. When I joined the business, and originally Morale introduced me to this, and that was back in the day when Bitcoin mining was very popular. So I got in and bought a Bitcoin mining contract. At that point, I have no clue about gold. I knew about gold. I knew what the power of gold was, but I thought, hang on, how am I going to walk with a gold bar in my pocket and spend it in the shop? So I thought that's not going to be something for me. But during that 6 months, I was just listening to corporate webinars. I was listening to what the corporate team was talking, listening to Morale. And then what triggered my mind to become decide change my mind to become an IBO, independent business owner within the Open Global Network, was when I listened to Carolita Oliveira, the lady who co-wrote, co-authored the book of Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. And I think she comes in once every 2-3 months with Bill. She does a webinar, and she talks about money matters. She's an international lawyer. And a wealth of information she was sharing in that specific webinar I was listening to, of how, I think it was very much about how to set your will up for the future. And this is something a lot of people also think, well, if I come into a store and I pass away, what happens with my tokens? Within the Token Global Network, we've taken KYC. We've got your details. And as Carolita back 6 months, well, a year and a half, a year and a half, because I'm now 2 years in it's Open Global. Year and a half, she said, you can make sure that your Facebook account is in your will, because somebody needs to close it down. Because ultimately, if you pass away, Facebook and everybody else got rights to your pictures. And then with the Open Global Network, you can do the same. You can put your Utopian Global account in your will, so your kids can inherit your Utopian Global account. They can inherit, take over your stored tokens. You sign a PPM within us, which is a private placement memorandum. So now this truly generational, because if I get to a certain age, I've got two lovely daughters. Only lovely when they don't need my money to spend it. Otherwise, it's an argument. But anyway, so if I pass away suddenly, I know they're going to inherit my tokens, and they're going to benefit from generational wealth, dividends in the future. And even if we go on a public exchange, this token values will increase, and they will benefit from this. So we're not just here just to get people in to raise money to buy the next best shiny object. Shiny object needs to last a long time.
Yeah, and I think what you mentioned there was very important, Sean. Like you said, you know, before you didn't really understand precious metals, and I was exactly the same. So I can honestly say 2.5 years ago, before I joined Utopian Global, I had no clue about any of this. So when you were holding up the money before, that's what I thought, that was my only option. You go to work, you trade your hours for that money, and yeah, that was it for me. I never thought about anything else. I never questioned it. You know, I've been to college, I've been to university, I still never questioned it. But then when I was watching Bill Rao, obviously I took quite a few months to do my research on the company. So like yourself, I was watching the corporate webinars. That was when I started to really understand what money is and how we need to get our money working for us. I had sort of heard that term before, get your money to work whilst you're sleeping. And I just thought, well, that just sounds nonsense. Maybe it's a scam. I don't know what I thought. I just didn't get it. But when I became part of Utopian Global and connected with the right people, you know, we all want the same thing. We're all, you know, serious about educating ourselves. We're not, as you said, we're not chasing the fast money. Yeah, I just educated myself a little bit on what money is and what finance is, and I'm no expert at all. You know, I have no background in this, but I know enough to know that we all need to be doing this, and I understand that, you know, there's a reason why we are not educated on this at school, and there's a reason why we all put our money in the banks, because that's exactly what they want us to do. So luckily my eyes got open to this. Like I say, I'm no financial expert. I made the decision when I had my children to work from home. But I knew that how can I explain it? I knew that I knew that there was a way that I could make, I suppose, generational wealth, but I didn't know that terminology then. And it was through being a member of Utopian Global that the doors were opened. And that's, you know, that's why I'm here today, and that's why we're doing this Zoom call, because we're all ordinary people on this Zoom panel. We've all got different backgrounds, but ultimately we want a better life for ourselves and our families. So yeah, I just thought I would just add that in, Sean.
There's a question, I don't know if you caught it, but the question was, can we join as a limited company or a company or something like that? And I believe the answer is yes. A lot of us have just joined as our own kind of individual sole traders, if you like. But
yep.
There are a few people, I believe, who've joined as a limited company, and they put it in their company's name. They own the store tokens in their company's name as well.
Sean can answer this one because he has.
I'm glad somebody can.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Steve. You can come and you can register yourself as a limited company and buy your store tokens in your store tokens. The beautiful thing with that is, because you're a limited company, you have an accountant. And in my case, I've got a tax lawyer and an accountant in the same place, which is really good for me, because ultimately I'm going to get a dividend paid. And some dividends will be taxable because it's extra income you make. So it's putting it through your company. Your company tax in the UK is lower than what your personal tax is. Depends what your tax bracket is you're in as well. And because it's a limited company, I can put expenses through that as well. So make me even more profitable going forward. But do go and get an accountant and somebody who specializes in this to help you set it up. Utopian Global will take you. You're going to need to give your company a limited company certification in it, a company registration, company's house if you're in the UK, depends where you are in the world, so you can do that as well.
Just an update on that. What about offshore? Is Canada is Canada viable, or is that part of the US?
You can open a LLC or any company within, and you can open Utopian Global because the company is based in your own legal jurisdiction.
Yeah.
If you have an offshore company, I guess you have to do your own personal KYC first. As a company owner, you have to do your personal KYC by giving your passport and your home address, and then you give your company details, and then that gets verified by the compliance team. But if you're an LLC, a limited company, Canada, UK, US, South Africa, Australia, as long as it's a private legal company registered at the company's house in one of the countries, then it should be accepted.
Okay. I registered as a just under my name, not the company, but it was just literally just something just popped up in my head because tax efficient.
You can take your personal account within Utopian Global, and in your underneath the account section, there is a section which you can fill in for your company details, and then you need to email your company details to support@utopianglobal.com, and then compliance team will work through them. If they have any questions or any doubt around the KYC and AML, they will get back.
Yeah, no, we're doing.
Does that answer your question, James?
Yeah, I'll be on to support in a minute.
Yeah, answer them.
They wait.
So yeah, for your company, you're still going to need to open a store wallet, Ether wallet to take your tokens in for your Ether wallet, because it's an equity token and it's based on Ethereum. So you do need the Ethereum wallet. So the token is basically there it's a smart contract, because the smart contract is a technology where they write the legal terms and conditions into digital format.
An Ether wallet yet.
That's okay.
I guess it's not required just at this moment in time anyway.
No, those people that have got their Ethereum wallets have they've started to connect them in the back office. So quite a few people now have their tokens transferred over. But there's going to be a lot of people who haven't done that yet. They've just joined. So
how safe are the wallets? Because obviously I have Bitcoin, but I sort of keep it on a Nano S.
For your store tokens, if you've got a Nano S, you can you can link your Nano S to Ethereum wallet. Yeah. Nano should have an Ethereum wallet or process to connect to offline cold storage Ethereum. You can use that wallet address for your store tokens as well. You do not need to use the My Ether wallet that's suggested, as long as it's a Ethereum wallet. The reason why we suggested My Ethereum wallet is a clean wallet. It's also offline and make a backup of your tokens. Yeah. As long as I personally recommend don't use Ethereum wallet if you've got Ethereum in already. Create a new wallet so you can keep your store tokens separate from your other Ethereum. Otherwise, you're going to get the different tokens and you're going to get confused which ones is which. Yeah. So it's nice to have two things separate. Hello, John, you've changed. Goodness me.
Yeah, I'm back.
Where's your dog?
I've been sat in here all day, so I had to get some fresh air. But
buying token.
A question about the wallets. I've not done mine yet. Is it essential to get them done ASAP, or is this something?
Well, if you purchase the store tokens, you have store tokens.
Yeah.
They're on the process of moving into your wallet, and I would say it's good to get your wallet done ASAP and link it into the back office so that the process can complete. Because what we have at this point in time, when the store token was released, it was put in a SAFT agreement, which is a soft, I forgot the rest of the word, that's abbreviation. Steve might correct me on what it stands for. But that agreement is basically, you purchase the store tokens, because the store tokens wasn't released at that point in time into your wallet, because the wallet wasn't created yet or anything. So it's agreement that if you purchase 99 euros, you're going to get say 135 store tokens. And the SAFT agreements, basically, this agreement is that once the tokens get released, you will get your 135 tokens for the 99 you purchase. And this is where we are now. Now we're moving from, we're trying to get out of the SAFT agreement. We want to get onto the blockchain. We want to get registered there. So we want every single member who's got stored tokens to get Ethereum wallet ready for themselves and link it to the back office. So we can move the tokens physically onto people's wallets and we can get them out of the SAFT agreement.
Right, okay.
So this is quite key.
Is there a video how to?
Yeah, there is a video from Claudia and Morel on how to set up a MyEther wallet. And it's also, I think, Morel and Claudia made a video on how to link it to the back office as well. So we do have videos. So maybe if Morel can share it out with you, that would be good.
Yeah, I'll do that, James. I'll just make a note of that before I forget.
Just remember, ultimately, you want to get hold of that stored token as soon as you can, basically. So it's important to get it because that is your smart contract. That's your legal contract. That is your share. You don't want to, if you buy shares, you don't want to have the broker and everybody sit on the share. You want to take ownership of that share. So it's supposed to sign onto your name. Even if it's a custodial account with the broker, you still need that piece of paper that said, oh, a share certificate to say that share is mine. This is the same thing, but you get it in the token format into your Ethereum wallet. The PPM is just a legal document that ties you to source rock where the assets are based in the US, in the United States. So it's two separate functions there. So any other questions, Susanna? Anything you want to add on to the comments and stuff tonight? You're muted there.
Let me unmute you.
It's really quite important thing to say is that it's a company that actually does stand out against others, and that is that it's a completely transparent company, and it actually has a growth strategy in place. So it's not a growth strategy for a couple of years. This will be a growth strategy for the long term. So it will have a year-on-year business growth plan. So when we're talking about the assets that are in place now and the new acquisitions that we're now discussing and talking about, this is just the beginning of a long story. They're going to be more and more. It's a massive place out there. So there will be project after project as we move on into the future. So I can almost say that our children, our grandchildren, as they become in positions to look at their financial position and futures, they will, in years to come, be able to take advantage in the same way, but probably a stronger way, because it would have developed momentum by that point, probably developed in other directions as well. So it's an exciting journey. And it's with a company that's extremely solid, in my opinion. It's just so transparent, isn't it? So
absolutely.
See that.
Absolutely. So we're getting on to the last quite long Morel. So I think we're getting close. Anybody wants to add something? Steve, any last words you want to add on?
Yeah, just sort of picking up on what Suzanne said there, really, is that if you look through the white paper, I've got some notes here, the crib sheets. The white paper talks about, in Cerro de Pasco, for example, this is just one project, 7.4 million ounces of copper, 40,000 ounces of gold, 1.4 million ounces of silver. Now, if you go by the market rates and just work out how much that's worth, the combined total at the moment is $73.5 million for that. Okay, so that's just one aspect. Then we go on to the other project that the judge talked about last week, the Ecuador project. 7 million ounces of gold, he said. That's 9.3 billion dollars. You know, that's quite incredible. The oil field in Texas, even though we got a 12 share in the oil field, that's $2 million a year. you know, in just assets. And that's just three things. Now, if we start talking about the pyrolysis plant, the midstream operation, the water reclamation project, and the renewable energy project is coming along. You know, the guy, Steve Austin, has been brought in. If you look at his profile on LinkedIn, you know, he's the president of a renewable energy company based in California. Now, you know, they wouldn't be inviting him in, he wouldn't be joining if that wasn't something they were going to actively pursue in, you know, the next 18 months to 2 years' time. Now, when that comes about, that's going to be another great income stream coming in. And all these things, oh, sorry, I've got a cold, so my voice is going all over the place. All these things, they basically are scalable as well. So, you know, there's more oil fields out there which we can actually buy. There's yet another mineral deposit cleanup job to be done in Panama, I think it is, isn't it? The pyrolysis plants, well, I was looking at a video today and they said, well, if you had 600 of these dotted around the United States alone, well, you know, that's just scratching the surface. If you take the world as a whole in, you know, there is a huge, huge market there. We're not going to be in every single country. We're not going to dominate the market. We don't need to. I think it's just a small chunk is going to be sufficient to pay dividends left, right, and centre. And the renewable energy, well, that's the oncoming thing, and that's going to take the company, I believe, you know, for the next 100 odd years. You know, long after we're pushing up the daisies, long after Ryan is pushing up the daisies as well, the potential for the company to keep on going in some shape or form, or even if it's sold, then you know, the token holders then will get a share of the sale proceeds and things like that. So, you know, there's a lot of good things going on in the company, I think, and something that, you know, you touched on earlier on. I've been involved in a number of online companies. A lot of them gave digital, you know, products. And invariably those companies fell over. So what's happened to those digital products? Well, they stopped paying the hosting fees for their websites and things like that. So you can't get hold of them anymore. So it's gone. So people spend that money and what they bought is just disappeared. You know, it's very difficult that an oil field just suddenly disappears. And it's not going to go anywhere, really, is it? So, you know, this is why I'm really, really bullish about this company. I think it's well put together. It's an opportunity, I think, that would be denied for most people. And I think the growth prospects are, you know, just phenomenal, really. When you just look around, you can just see how things could develop. The more people get involved, the more opportunities there's going to be, which is great, you know, because it's that expansion can really kick in. Oh, excuse me. So,
Brilliant. Thank you, Steve. Bless you. Okay, so do we have any last questions before we finish off on Facebook? I'm going to end the live. Any more questions?
Just one thing before we go.
Yeah.
Now, just to get back to the point I made earlier, in May, I went out to Houston and actually walked on that oil fields. I touched the assets and I saw the knotty donkeys. I call it nodding the donkeys because it keeps going like this, pumping out the oil. And I'm now back doing 8 hours a day and the IT contract with 3 of one of my IT companies, earning this, devaluing. But if I go to bed, leave the office, I still earn because I've got the nodding donkey in Texas, in a different part of a different continent, different world, different time zone, pumping out oil. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Going to make profit for us in the long run. It's already starting to make profit. It's going to pay a dividend outcome in 2020 to us. This is going to be phenomenal. This is just the one asset I went to see. I'm looking forward to fly out to San Pasco at some point next year, hopefully. Go and see the actual work they do at San Pasco. I'm looking forward to go and see the pyrolysis plant. So this is something you can physically go and see. You don't just have to buy it. If you want to go and see these assets and walk on them, and you to contact the CEO, Ryan, he can arrange something for you at specific times, obviously, because he's a busy guy. and it can meet you and it will take you to these assets, tangible physical assets. I'm a mini Rothschild at this point in time. I own oil fields. I don't own much of this, but I am a mini Rothschild, mini me. Anything else? Anyone else to add? John? Good to go, man.
I'm all good. I'm all good. Excited for what's coming, and I like the idea of flying out to see this Sierra de Pasco. I like that idea. I love to travel, so that will be an experience.
Definitely on the cards.
And then we can spend the next 6 months traveling around, visiting all the various pyrolysis plants that are across the UK.
That's a good traveling plan, that.
Yeah. Cool. I'm all good. I'm all good.
Okay.
Right,
Okay, brilliant. So just going to finish up on Facebook then. Thank you so much to everybody. I know there's been quite a few people on the live today, which is absolutely brilliant. But most of you will probably watch this on the replay. So thank you for taking the time to come and join us. Just pop any questions into the comments. And as I mentioned before, I will get back in touch with you when I see those comments pop up. If you're interested in coming onto the corporate webinar, we will have a corporate webinar on Saturday. So just get in touch with me or anybody on the panel. We will send you the link. You can come and listen to the full business presentation, and you'll get to hear from Bill Brow, the CEO, and also Claudia Eifert, who is our Diamond Ambassador. And if you enjoyed the Zoom tonight, I hope you did. I certainly did. It's, you know, we've had new people jumping on today, which was brilliant. And we've had some great discussions, some great topics have been brought up. So if you'd like to come and join us again, we run these every Monday and every Wednesday at 8:30 UK time on my Facebook page. It's the same link. So come and join us. It's much more fun if you come into the Zoom. But if you're a bit shy, then of course you can just watch us live from Facebook. So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you on the next live video. Take care for now.